Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I'm answering the question, what if Anakin joined the agricultural corps? This video was suggested by one of my patrons, Simon. If you'd like to sign up to support my channel on Patreon, then there's a link in the description below. So, Anakin has just destroyed the Lucrehult in orbit around Naboo, and Qui-Gon has just been stabbed by Darth Maul. Obi-Wan is talking to Yoda and is like, "I'll train the boy," and Yoda says, "Train him you will not. Too inexperienced you are to take on a Padawan that did not grow up in the temple, but into our order he will be inducted." And Obi-Wan is like, "Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I understand." So Anakin ends up joining the Jedi Order. He is given a handful of classes with younglings much younger than himself over the course of a year, but then because he wasn't raised in the temple, the Jedi Council decided to ship him off to the Agricultural Corps. That's right, the Jedi Order isn't just super powerful space wizards with laser swords, they're also including among their number powerful space wizards with gardening tools. So, Anakin is getting shipped off to the planet to Agri-World 2079. While there, Anakin continues to learn of the Force, but because he was in the agri-core instead of being a Padawan, his training was based on making things grow, and my goodness, did he make things grow. He did such an incredible job in innovating new force-based hybrid agricultural techniques that within 5 years, Agri-World 2079 had quintupled its produce. The entire Senate was abuzz with the incredible output, and Anakin was given special assignment to visit other worlds in order to examine the local flora for consideration. So for 3 years, he went on several 4-month rotations, and every world he went to had just massive increases in output. Finally, he was summoned by the Senate at the tender age of 19 to present on his findings. He returned to the Jedi Temple, got to catch up with Obi-Wan, and then headed with Yoda and Mace over to the Senate chamber to talk. While there, everybody was just super impressed, and he was invited to the Republic Agricultural Affairs Ministry, which was headed up by a group of senators. Unbeknownst to him, Padme Amidala, so utterly impressed by how handsome he was, and I mean how good a farmer he was as well. You know what? No, I was right the first time. Impressed by how handsome he was, decided that she was going to do the stalkerish move of asking Supreme Chancellor Palpzilla to have her appointed to the Agricultural Council. So when Anakin shows up the next day, Padme is waiting. Anakin immediately started making an absolute fool out of himself because his awkward advances, but Padme never cared. She'd pretend like she wasn't totally and completely infatuated with him, but she was. She always was. So they end up getting married, and the Jedi Council doesn't even realize what's going on, but Palpatine is like, "Yes, that's precisely what I'll do. I'll recruit Anakin and lead him to the dark side utilizing his wife." So Anakin starts getting nightmares, and he is feeling just totally overwhelmed by them. He is afraid his mother is going to pass away, so one day he puts in a request to be transferred to his home world, Tatooine, to see if he can make something of the desert planet. Once he arrives, he finds out that Watto sold his mom, so he goes to find her, and lo and behold, she has been captured by Tuskens. Anakin uses the Force to track them down, and upon finding her and seeing her die in his arms, he is totally incensed. He takes out a gardening trowel in one hand and a hoe in the other, and starts busting Tusken skulls. Having not had extensive combat training and using gardening implements as weapons instead of a laser sword, he ends up taking a lot longer time than he would have otherwise to deal with the Tuskens. However, because he has a shovel on hand, he is able to bury them more quickly, and the time ends up evening out. So he returns and tells Padme, who is now his wife, that he ended all their lives, and she's like, "It's cool, they're just sand people." And Anakin says, "Yeah, sand people." And Padme's like, "No, they aren't like us, Annie." And Anakin says, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. I got curious when I was burying one of them and I unfolded their little bandage wrappings. They're just people." And Padme's like, "Okay, well, agree to disagree. But still, it's sad about your mom." And Anakin says, "Yeah." So the next day, they get word from Obi-Wan that he is on Geonosis and they need to transfer a message back to Coruscant for him. And they do. Then Anakin just goes back to work cultivating black melons and cacti. After 3 years, time, the Clone Wars has devastated the galaxy, but Tatooine has the start of an actual forest growing on it. Unfortunately, Anakin starts having nightmares about Padme passing away, just like he had nightmares about his mom. When he visits Coruscant to give a report and see his wife, she ends up telling him that she is pregnant, and he is absolutely thrilled. Unfortunately, however, he starts having these dreams even more intensely because good old Sheevy P is giving him nightmares about Padme passing away in childbirth. So there's this whole big deal with the Clone Wars, and one day when Anakin is on Coruscant to give a report, Palpatine summons him and says, "Anakin, I remember you. I met you on Naboo when you helped save my home planet." And Anakin says, "Yeah, and like a dozen other times at state dinners I went to with my wife Padme, as, you know, her +1. And Palp says, "Oh, yes, of course. Anyway, you wouldn't happen to have heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, have you?" And Anakin says, "You know what? I heard about that from Mace Windu. It was really intriguing. I thought I might write my master's dissertation on it." "Oh?" Palpatine says, confused. "But I decided not to, and instead I'm writing my dissertation on agricultural studies." "I see," Palpatine says. "Anyway, Plagueis learned how to keep people from dying." And Anakin says, "Oh man, I'd love to know how to do that. I'm just like having tons of nightmares about my wife dying, just like I did about my mom right before she passed away." "Oh, that's horrible," Palpatine says. "It sure is, but there are tons of stuff in the Jedi archives on healing locked away in the Masters section. And it just so happens if I made an agricultural core master by, passing my master's dissertation, that I'll be able to access the Masters section of the Jedi archives and force heal my wife myself." "Oh, I see," Palpatine says. "Okay, well, I should let you go. I just wanted to say thanks for saving Naboo all those years ago." "And ask me about Darth Plagueis," Anakin says. "Yes, well, I supposed it just happened to be on my mind. Ta-ta for now." So Anakin ends up flying to Tatooine, which is where the base of operations is for master's level agricultural work, to give a defense for his dissertation, but unfortunately his defense is not accepted. It just so happens that one of Palpenheimer Schmidt's agents was on the dissertation board and failed him for not giving appropriate citation. So Anakin is heartbroken. He can change up his paper and resubmit it at the end of the next semester, but by then Padme will have given birth and it may be too late. So Sidious sends him a message saying that he has asked the school to fill him in on the results of the paper because it sounded interesting and that he's sure that he'll pass the next time. But if he wants to use the power of the dark side of the Force to save Padme, then he can come learn from Palps himself. And Anakin on the holocall says, "You're the Sith that the Jedi have been looking for." And Palpate says, "You would like to kill me, wouldn't you?" And Anakin says, "I'd very much like to." So then Anakin walks out, gets on a ship, flies across the galaxy over the course of the next couple days, arrives at Coruscant, spends several hours in customs, heads over to the Jedi Temple after some very tough traffic to get there, and approaches Mace Windu. And Mace says, "Skywalker, dude, how are you doing? I tell you, putting you in the agricultural core was one of the best moves we ever made. You're pretty much single-handedly feeding the galaxy. So why are you here anyway?" And Anakin says, "I've just discovered a terrible truth, Master. Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord." And Mace says, "A Sith Lord?" And Anakin says, "Yup." So Mace says, "Skywalker, stay here, and maybe if you get a chance, have a look at the jalapenos I'm growing on my balcony. I'm going to go take care of Palpatine with some other masters." So Mace, Shakti, Oppo Rancisis, and Anakin Kolar all approach Palpatine, and blah, 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 whole big fight. Most of the Jedi die except for Mace. Mace beats Palpatine back, and Anakin comes running in, and Mace is like, "I'm gonna end this loser." Anakin's like, "No, it's not the Jedi way, I need him." And Mace pulls his sword back and swings down, but Anakin grabs his garden hoe that he was carrying and swings it up, hitting Mace right in the wrist. "Ow, dang it, Skywalker," Mace says, "that freaking hurt." And then Palpatine screams, power, and starts zapping at Mace, but Mace ends up just blocking it with his lightsaber, and Palpatine gets even more cooked. Mace says, you know what, Sky Guy? You're right. I'm gonna arrest him. Let's take this guy in. As they are carting off an unconscious and very badly burned Sith Lord, Anakin says, so, by the way, I've been having dreams about my wife passing away in childbirth, similar to how I had dreams about it happening to my mom right before she passed away. You think I could look at the teachings on healing? And Mace says, for Senator Amidala? Absolutely, man. So Anakin and Padme end up visiting the Jedi Force healers for a couple weeks until the babies are born, and there are no problems at all, and everyone lives happily ever after. So that's my video for today. Thank you, Simon, for the recommendation. What he actually recommended was what if Anakin didn't become a Jedi agricultural core master, and I just kind of had to figure out how I would fit that into the story. It was a little bit of a tough one to write, but I do give my patrons the privilege of actually giving me ideas that I'm gonna write. Unlike the comments section where it's just if I think it's a good video, if I think of a good idea, I might write it. So in the coming weeks, I will be doing a few more of these Star Wars videos, but I am very, very, very seriously consider branching out. I put a poll on the website earlier today asking what you guys think I should branch out into, or if you think I should just keep doing Star Wars videos. Let me know in the comments of this video if you'd like, or you can try and find that poll on the community tab at my page. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.